Progress.
And trust.
What I've gone through for the last 2 years, ups and downs, mental barriers, who you are as a person, what should you then be doing? So I think this, to me, is a progress.
Trusting your own instinct, trusting of your heart.
Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast, What's Your Word?
This is your host, Henri.
And this is your co-host, Mike.
Today is the 25th of March 2022 and today is Friday! The week has gone by so quickly, another Friday. So tell me, what's happening this week?
There's very good news coming out from Singapore. Basically, what's happening right now is that I think Singapore is opening up its border and also in terms of some of the measures for COVID-19. Mask outdoor, right now it will be optional, indoor is still mandatory. Consumption of alcohol beyond 10:30 p.m. every day is lifted.
So which means you can keep drinking beyond 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Wow, parties coming back to the tropical island of Singapore. So start booking your tickets and come to Singapore.
Well, that will help Singapore's economy for sure. We depend a lot on tourism.
It's only going to make us stronger, right?
I hope so. When it was announced yesterday, I think everybody was just so happy.
In Europe, it's more like a fluctuation. It goes by season. So right now it's like more open, but when autumn and winter come, you never know. It's like in the last 2 years, always going to kind of like restriction again.
I think so. Why I say that this is a good news to me, because that signifies quite a lot, and I think it means a lot for Singapore and Singaporeans in general, whoever that work here and live here. All along it has been, at this toughest time, you are only allowed to have 2 people, going out and dine. Then it was like 5 people from sometimes a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah, and now it's doubled to 10. But I think this entire COVID-19, for sure, like what you mentioned, like what's happening in Europe, there will always be waves of different things. But I think for a small country like Singapore, who depends a lot on trade, tourism, people coming in and out, this is something good. And even as somebody who's living in this country, you just feel like, oh great, I am a little bit closer to my old life again. At the very least, you can go out and mingle with your friends, and your families if you have a bigger family, right? And you can stay beyond 10:30, have a couple more drinks, especially on Friday, right? So I think these are the kind of measures that will definitely lift the spirits of the citizens and people who live here.
Wait, so how does it work? So which means that when you're coming in, you no longer need to apply for the VTL, Vaccinated Travel Lane.
Yeah, so there's no longer VTL. Now they call it VTF, F or framework, basically.
What does that mean?
So essentially, back then there were like different categories of countries that the Singapore government classified, and then depending on the way they classify it, it's by the number of cases
in that particular country.
Yes, and how severe it is, all this kind of thing. So right now there's only 2 categories, general and those that are still restricted. And almost 90% of the countries right now worldwide, when they come to Singapore, they fall under general categories. That means as long as you're vaccinated, you take at least 2 shots or your booster, you can come. All you need to do is 2 days prior to your departure from your home country or wherever that you're flying into Singapore, you do PCR test or a supervised RT test. As long as it's negative, you can come.
Right.
Yeah. So given what's happening around, global affairs, global economy, we know that it's not that quick currently. And for Singapore to open up, it means that we are kind of ready. All we need to do right now is kind of tackle the global stage. We no longer hold ourselves back. So I feel like that it's great.
So apart from that, what other things happening? Saturday and
right.
Sunday, you went for a friend's wedding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How was that? How did that go actually?
Essentially, we had the wedding on last Saturday. There's this restaurant, a Chinese restaurant called Empress, which is situated inside Asian Civilization Museum.
Okay.
He and his wife essentially held their wedding there, and
so they booked the whole restaurant basically.
Yeah, they booked the whole restaurant. It was like afternoon, I would call evening maybe. I think it started around maybe 4 p.m. onwards. So we started with both sides' family coming together to witness the registry of their marriage. And then thereafter, then they do this customary thing. they call it tea ceremony basically. In Chinese, it's called 敬茶.
So what you do is that
3 hours.
you have to, for the newlywed, they have to kneel in front of the parents, 2 sets of parents, and then they have to offer the tea to them.
Yes.
And then in exchange, they will give some gift or red packet, isn't it?
Yes, you're right.
Like as a form of blessing.
It lasted for 3 hours before both sides' friends and family came over.
Yeah.
From 7 onwards, lasted until 10:30 where the alcohol stopped.
So most of people left
Yeah,
when the alcohol stopped.
Kinda.
Did you stay longer or did you leave as well?
Nah, I think everybody leave at 10:30 because even my friend and the wife actually left at 10:30 as well.
Was there any after party? That's the most fun part, right?
Well, it was 5 people in terms of the restriction for the group. So at least for the newlywed and the immediate circle of friends, 5 of us inclusive of the newlywed, we did have a mini after
So
party.
there was only 5 of you. You guys had after party.
Yeah, we just went drinking.
Who was the 5th one?
Another good friend of ours.
Wow, so honored.
Yeah, so we just went, continued to drink at the hotel room, that kind of crashed, newlywed night, you get what I mean?
Talking about drinking, we said we were going to drink whiskey.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it now. Come on.
Okay, sure.
Let's do it now. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Oh, shock ah.
Where were we?
Drinking.
Drinking, yes. We had that after party from I think 11 onwards, all the way until 5 a.m. in the morning.
Ooh.
Yeah. The night was young, or rather the morning was...
The morning was very
early.
So just went straight on to have your breakfast afterwards.
Breakfast? Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I think that wedding was great. We kind of concluded by saying that, it felt great that we have this break, especially now when we are all like grown up and we are busy in our life. It's a really good break. Definitely one of the better weddings and memorable one that I've been to in the last couple of years. Because usually if I go for a wedding, I'll just be there for the ceremony or just eat and then bye. But the aftermath of that was in fact the highlight. Of course, during the entire dinner, the procession, I felt emotional. Like this guy I knew him for how long? Since primary school. There was a host during the wedding, and then we were kind of playing bingo, bingo game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually won bingo. And then he started to ask, how are you related to him, and anything you want to say to the newlywed. And I was like, yeah. I just told him that, we grew up together. I knew him since I was 10. I was like, wow. A lot of memories started to come back. Like, wow, we went through schools together, we played football together, we played in a band together as well, and then we visited each other during our uni days, and then we have seen each other fall in love, fell out of love, and then this is where he is right now. Yeah, moving on to the next phase of his life, starting family. At the current stage, we are still trying to forge new memories together. And that's just how relationships are, right? Like if you put in the effort, you keep each other close to your heart, you will somehow want to do it.
I do think that it is nice that when both sides do, still maintain their friendship and you can still grow together. It can be a different direction, but you can still grow together, in terms of moving forwards. But there are also in life, there are friends whom you've been friends for many, many years, but then at some point it's just not necessary you can go further. And that's something I learned through my own experiences, that it is okay to let it go as well at times, because those kind of friendship at some point does not suit you anymore. So you also need to make a choice, how do you want to move on from there? Yeah, because people change as well. It'll be nice when people stay, but it takes an effort from both sides, you see.
Somewhere down this path of friendship that you're walking together, things start to diverge because of experiences, values, the way you see things are different, and you start to drift.
Yeah, all happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just say I have lived in so many different places, right? So for instance, whenever I come back to Singapore, I will see and catch up with a few friends, and they're all from different era of my life. Like yesterday, I went to see this friend of mine in Serangoon.
Yeah.
So I used to study with her in Australia, and we had such a good time. And then because my Facebook has been locked since 2018, so I no longer have the access to it. And she showed me, and we went through all the photos we had while we were in Australia. And also the years later, whenever I come into Singapore, we meet up. You know, the friendship is still there, so strong. I just know that even though you have not seen each other for a long time, but you know that you are moving forward in life. It can be different things, but it's just a topic to talk about, you see. So yesterday, I really enjoyed myself a lot. I was still very grateful that at least I managed to spend like 4 or 5 hours yesterday with her, and we were just chatting. She was telling me about her job, you know, her aspiration. You know, right now I'm doing all this YouTube and different social media things. She was really, really inspired. She was sharing her plan with me as well. Like, she's a professional. She worked as a psychologist. So she's intending to push all her contents out in different platforms. So we're kind of really like discussing about that in depth. So that was really, really nice actually. Some people, you can only talk about the past. You can't necessarily talk about the present or the future. You know what I mean? So that, in a way, it reflects the different phase of your life. And that sometimes it's hard to continue that.
There's always this saying, right? Like, you know, people come, people go. Like, as you move on in life, there will be a lot of people that come and go as passerby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really have to hold dearly those who's still around with you, really. And that's why you need to make an effort for it.
Yeah, but sometimes when you make an effort, the counterparty might not really respond. Maybe they are just not in the right stage of life, or
it can happen as well. But then let's not say that for any kind of friendship to go further, you need to take two sides. Like, it takes two to tango, right? I'm actually looking forward because a friend of mine is coming to Singapore. I got to know her in 2011. She introduced me to Eurovision Song Contest. She said, Henry, you're living in Europe right now. You do not know what's Eurovision Song Contest? No? Oh my God, I need to introduce you to that. And ever since then, I got to know so many different people. Like the friend of mine who's coming. I got to know her and her sister there. And then every single year, this Kiwi friend of ours, Corinne will always organize like a Eurovision Song Contest party at her place.
Party?
Yeah, so the concept is that everybody needs to have a country that you're supporting. So you need to know you need to learn the lyrics really, really well.
Yeah, you need to know the contestant.
All of us will dress up to represent that country. That's the fun part.
What happened if, like, among this group of friends who are participating clash in terms of supporting the same country or same participants?
No, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. You can just group together, and then you're stronger, right? So there are always countries. Okay, Germany is always in it because most of the people are from Germany, right? So what they do is just that they bring beer, or they have their flag, and that's it. But then then you have like representative from Bulgaria, like various origin from Bulgaria, but she's like me German, And then so for her and her sister, they were forever representing Bulgaria. There was only 1 year to representing Finland. That was the year I met them.
Okay.
But then after that, there was always
Bulgaria,
yeah. And then for me, I've represented quite a few countries before. Cyprus was my first one. France, the Netherlands, twice.
Okay.
The first time represented Netherlands, they came in second. And the second time I represented the Netherlands, they won. And that was live. I was so excited. We went all the way to Amsterdam. It was so much fun. That was just right before COVID lockdown started, really. So that's something that we always, every single year, will look forward to that. I think that's really part of my European experience since 2011. Every single year, especially when we finish Chinese New Year here, then I'm looking forward to go back to Eurovision. I have to put it in my calendar. So this is the day that I need to go to Corinne's to attend the party, because she also lives in different city. We used to live in the same city in Cologne, but then all of us move away, you see, because life happens. But anyway, so coming back to the friendship thing, I do think that everybody has to make an effort to it. And I'm looking forward to Very's arrival.
So what's the word for you this week? For me, it's progress. Yeah, progress. It stems from what the Prime Minister of Singapore mentioned about opening up. So it really made me think through what I've gone through for the last 2 years during this crazy COVID-19 pandemic. The ups and downs, the mental barriers, and how then who you are as a person, what should you then be doing? So I think this, to me, is a progress. No doubt it might come back, like there's this, it can be any time that the Singapore government announced again that, hey, we got to, restrict our borders again, and wear masks and whatnot, because there might be another wave or another variant that's going to come up. But to me, this is progress. And we are right through this entire thing for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
So progress for me this week.
What's my word? I think I'll say trust. Trust in the sense of like friendship, the amount of effort you put it in and time put it in to the right person, right friends, it will work out at some point. If it doesn't, then you know that you try, right? It's just about a certain trust there, it must exist. And that trust also, because I was going through my interview, which like yesterday, for 45 minutes, I really spent quite a lot of time thinking about the whole idea, like how I could prepare it, and I was doing a lot of research. I spent another day, the second day, to really prepare for the interview, in terms of strategy, in terms of operation, what I could suggest, what is it feasible, what are the trends that's going on, whether that would be suitable for the company itself, things like this. So I just got really going through and preparing for the interview itself, just to be fully prepared, because this is something that I really want to do. So the interview actually went really, in my opinion, I think it went really well. It was a ping pong effect. He asked me the question, I answered the question, asked him the question, he answered me the question. But now they have to make a decision. They have to make a discussion, do a discussion among themselves, whether they want to invite me over for in-person interview to feel the vibe. So that's about trust as well. Trust in the sense of trusting your own instinct, trusting of your heart. And that's something I've not been doing for the last few years. Pushing myself more and more to the trusting of my heart. The decision that's coming out from my heart and the voice coming out from there. It's very scary, but then I was thinking about, Henri, trust about the process. You have done what you can. You just need to trust that this is going to work out. Through university and later in years, I always believe that somehow my rationality always convinced me to be the forerunner. And that put me into a different sports that I'm not really embracing of my unfair advantage. So that's why since last year, I started to encourage myself and support myself more to listen more to my heart, listen to the inner voices. And that's why I come up with the word trust for this week. It's a journey, right?
Progress for me.
And trust. So with that, we shall end our episode 5, Trust and Progress here. This is your host, Mike and
Henri.
And we shall see you in the very next episode. Have a great weekend, everybody. Ciao, ciao.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Ooh la la. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Oh, sure. 5 things I wish I knew before learning German.
Do you want to have some airtime to promote this?
For more doses of Henri, don't forget to check it out. Every Friday, I will upload a video in terms of storytelling or language learning. Just Henri, just.Henri. Henri spelled with Henri.